And welcome back to another episode of Six Man Tag Podcast. Here as always, I'm Mike. Joining me as always, it's CJ.
What's up, everybody? CJ Doink, aka Craig Francis. How you guys doing out there? I know I'm doing pretty good after that New York Rangers win. That's right. I know it's a wrestling podcast, but I gotta brag a little bit. But I'm gonna toss it over.
This might be irrelevant when it comes out. By the way, we're recording this on a Tuesday. It comes out on a Friday.
Yeah, we'll see. They might be knocked out by the time this actually
Game 5 Thursday. This might be irrelevant. But
nah, I have faith. But anyway, moving on to my main man over in the third chair, Skylar Strange.
Hey, yo, what's up? This is Skylar Strange, aka Skylar motherfucking Strange, back in the day, just here chilling with my boys, about to talk some wrestling. Hey, technically, you're a wrestler.
Sure.
We have another.
Let's get to you.
We have another guest. He is not employed by the trains like our prior guests. He wears the stripes. He counts to 3. Does a lot more. From Northeast Wrestling, welcome, Vinnie Lawrence.
How you doing? Vinnie Lawrence, otherwise known as referee Vinnie Lax. Yes, I have a gimmick name as a referee because why not? That actually came from playing the old create a character. That was my wrestling name because I played lacrosse in high school. I tried to play in college, wasn't good enough. But that's how the name Vinnie Lax came to be. Because I was a lacrosse player in high school. My first AOL screen name was Laxball01. So when I got into wrestling, I used my create a character gimmick name from the old N64 video games that I used to play. So
okay,
Vinnie Lax.
We have our first Twitch guest.
Yes, follow me on Twitch, referee Vinnie Lax. I'll get the plug in early.
Okay, we're jumping on his Twitch first.
All right, what's your Twitch?
No, we
come. We talk about ideas.
Have you tried Twitching? It's fun.
We haven't done it yet, but we're talking about.
I highly recommend it.
We're gonna have a conversation with you all.
Yeah, even if you go into with the attitude like, I'm just gonna have fun with it, not gonna worry about the numbers. It's a lot of fun. It's just a good time. Like I'm having a great time doing it. Nobody barely watches me. My sister's boyfriend comes on in the morning, and we chat. And I have to do it in the morning too because that's the best time for me. But it's just really fun, relaxing. Chill out, hang out, watch video games. I watch commercials on Fridays. It's a good time.
Twitch is fun. Twitch is fun.
Yeah.
Watching Twitch. Who would have never thought back in the day that entertainment, when you're playing games 20 years ago, that hey, 20 years from now, I'm going to watch people play video games.
If this existed, it's better.
And see, I blame my mother for telling me that I'd never make any money playing video games because now if I would have stuck to my guns when I was a kid and just really dove into those video games the way I wanted to, I'd probably be a millionaire right now.
Same.
You'd probably still be getting owned by 10-year-olds.
I could have been an esports contender.
There's still some 10-year-old kid with a sniper rifle just taking me out.
We were that 10-year-old kid once, I promise you that.
I believe them afterwards.
That's the one thing. Like I've gotten so much worse at video games just because I've gotten older, and you forget how many hours. Because now I play a lot of old retro games, so you forget how many hours I had to sit there and put into like something as stupid as like Super Mario Brothers 3. Because I'm sitting there playing that, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't remember this game being that hard.
Yeah, that's true. I have a lot of the old retro games, and I kind of like I'm kind of impressed with how difficult some of them have become over the years. I'm like,
a lot of it's artificial like difficulty.
Yeah.
Like blind, like it was those games you just had to play through to memorize like the patterns, basically.
I would absolutely say the original NES is by far the most difficult console.
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
but that's why those games are so fun to speedrun for speedrunners, is because they don't change, right? There's not a lot of variables in those games, so you just have to memorize the path, and basically, and I say it like it's easy, but it takes a ton of practice. I mean, it's ridiculous, like because like I said, I go back and play these games. I forget how hard they were, and they're just running through it, like not talking, not even looking at the screen. They're just so used to doing it. It's amazing. So this is a video game podcast now. So I just took over.
We said.
Hold on, we have a segue though, because you got the video game gimmick name, which your old video game. So now we're bringing back to wrestling now. All right. So we have Vinnie Lax here on the show with us today. So it's very good. Very, very happy to have you. Let me give you a A little applause here, boys. Come on. Let's give our guests some applause here. Come on.
No, like I said, I was saying before I came on, I appreciate you guys having me. This, as an independent wrestling referee, it's not often I get to do podcasts. So it's really cool to be on these things. I've done a handful. I've obviously done a lot more in the past couple of years because everyone has a podcast now.
It's true.
I had
That's why we started one.
It's why not? That's the thing too. Like Twitch, like the technology's here for it. It's fun. Go for it. Do it. There's an audience out there.
Someone lives.
There's always an audience out there. I mean, I post my Twitch videos on my YouTube channel, and maybe 15, 20 people watch them, but I'm still amazed 15 people, 20 people watch these things. I was like, oh, cool. It's pretty neat.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's happy for me. It's a hot whatever, man.
Right.
Listen,
it's fun.
If you have hobbies, just enjoy them, man. Who don't, if it turns into something awesome.
And that's how it turns into something, to be honest with you. Most times that's how it happens. You just start off as a hobby, just like I did with professional wrestling. I never expected to be professional wrestler referee for guys like the Hardy Boys and Rey Mysterio Jr. and Alberto Rio and Mickey James, like all these names that I grew up watching. I never expected to be in a ring with these people. I got into it because I met somebody at work who ran a promotion, and he was a former wrestler, and there happened to be a wrestling school not too far away from me. And I asked him if I could referee, and there next thing I know, I'm at a wrestling school, taking bumps, hitting the ropes.
So this is actually I'm always fascinated with how people become, especially like a referee, because like you just said, like you just kind of, oh hey, you guys need a ref, it was as simple as that, and then
I wouldn't say it was as simple as that. I was like, he invited me to come to the show basically because we met with, he knew I was a wrestling fan. I mean, this is back in 2003, so prime, just the end of the Attitude Era, getting into that Ruthless Aggression era. Wrestling was still huge. As a fan, I was a big fan in the 80s. I'm 42 now, so I'm showing my age a little bit. But the Hulkamania era is when I started watching wrestling.
Okay.
Fell off like a lot of people did in your middle school, high school years. Still kind of that watched here and there, but didn't really follow it. And then in college, I remember one of my friends had a VHS tape of it was the episode. I think it was the episode of McMahon visiting Mick Foley in the hospital. I want to say it was that episode.
Very entertaining bit.
Right? That was the birth of Mr. Saka. I want to say that was 98.
Yes.
Yep.
And I think he had a VHS tape of that, and I was like, oh my God, wrestling is amazing again. And just got right back into it. And that was a great time for wrestling, being a wrestling fan too, because the internet was just kind of starting with the message boards. If you were really a big fan, you had the dirt sheets and stuff. I never had any. I was a kid. Wasn't that interested in it. But now with the internet, you can go on, you can search and the Monday Night Wars are still kind of going on. So there's who's going to this show, what's going on with this. There's a lot of drama going on. So it was a great time to get back into wrestling. Got back into wrestling, big fan. Meet this guy. His name is Jeff Leibold. He actually works on the trains too. Talking about with Jason.
There's always a connection to the
There's
trains.
always a connection to the trains. But he was working at Poughkeepsie High School at the time, where I'm employed as the athletic trainer there. He was a football coach. He was also a security guard. Whatever. We got talking. He was like, "Yeah, I'm a wrestler. I run this promotion up in Vermont called Tri-State Wrestling." I was like, "Hey," he was like, "Do you want to come up?" And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be cool." I was like, "Hey, you know what?" I was like, "Do you think I could referee?" He's like, "Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I think we could do that." A guy, Tony DeVito, who, if you're an old ECW fan, remember if he was one of the Baldies, he was running a wrestling school down there. I got really lucky with the people that were in that wrestling school at the time. Were guys like Cheech and Cloudy, Lou Santiago, Diablo Santiago, was one half of the Outcast Killers. He was a pretty big indie name at the time. He was kind of like an assistant trainer there. And Bobby Fish was there, which is pretty cool. I think I actually did Bobby Fish's first singles match.
Huh.
So that's my name. That's my big name drop there, Bob.
Yeah,
I go way back with Bobby.
It's a good name.
It's a pretty good name to drop, right?
Yeah.
So I get into he brings me down to the wrestling school, learn the ropes, learn how to bump, work on referees, the stuff a little bit. When you're first starting out, you don't know what you're doing. You're just in there I know. I think I've seen referees count and like count to 3 and yell at people and stuff like that. Really, I trained for like 3 or 4 months before I got my first in the ring first time. So I was I was probably more seasoned than some of the first time referees, which isn't saying too much. But Tri-State Wrestling, for what it was, it's a small little promotion up in Rutland, Vermont. But it was a pretty good way to get my feet wet. It was and it didn't help. It didn't hurt that one of my buddies was the promoter / booker for it. So, but it wasn't like he was throwing me the main event matches. Like I got there, I did my 1 or 2 matches or whatever, and had a great time doing it. And that was where referee Vinnie Lawrence was born. I did that for a little bit. That got me into Connecticut, into Defiant Pro Wrestling. Oh, this is a good story actually. A buddy of mine by the name of Osiris that I went to college with. That's his gimmick name. His real name is G.A. West. He brought this little kid, he's 14 years old at the time, named Zach the Ref. I don't know if you ever heard of Zach the Ref. Did a lot of stuff in like Rhode Island, Jersey, Connecticut, New York. Really cool kid, but he was 14 at the time. And he comes up to me and goes, dude, he's like, how long you been reffing? That wasn't that bad. I was like, dude, that was my first show. He's like, oh, I can get you work. I can get you work. So he, he was a good little resource. But he was like I said, he was 14 years old at the time, which is crazy to think about. But that's it was 2003. The times were a little different then. I don't know if any promotion would put a 14-year-old in the ring, but it is what it is. And he got me some doors open. Tony DeVito got me some doors open in Connecticut. And then just kind of that's how your career grows. If you know anything about independent professional wrestling, just kind of get your feet in the door in little places and kind of branch out. And next thing you know, I've been trying to get on Northeast Wrestling for years. They were one of the first promotions that I watched. I went to college in Connecticut, and it was probably the first indie show that I've seen was Northeast Wrestling, and just their reputation and for their shows and their crowds. It's where I want. It's where I knew like that was where I wanted to be. So eventually I got there. It took me a little while, but.
So when you first started out, and you first went to go to the school and train Tony DeVito the first time, how long were you training before you asked if you wanted to ref? Did you go in there?
Oh no, I went in there knowing
okay.
I want that's why I went down there, because I asked him, can I ref on his show? And he was professional enough not to put some untrained kid in the ring to referee. Right?
Yeah.
Because that happens. If you guys go to enough independent shows, you can see sometimes like the quality of the refereeing isn't always the best. But yeah, he was a professional enough guy to know like I wasn't going to put in someone there just to F around. Mm-hmm. I was going to put somebody in there who was trained. So that's why he brought me out of the school. And like I said, I still trained for probably like 2 or 3 times a week for maybe like 3 or 4 months before I actually got in, before I actually had a match. So it wasn't like I was super rushed in there just because I knew somebody.
How'd the first match go though? Like, okay.
I have no idea. I don't remember. I'm sure it went fine. If I remember correctly, actually, there was a bit, of course, it's my first match, and I think they're throwing like interference spots at me.
Oh god.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, trying to play it cool, like I know what I'm doing. Yeah, no, I got you. I don't think I saw it, but yeah, I obviously wasn't in the best position for it looking back. It was one of those things where I just turn. I knew it was coming, so I just turn your back to it and like look at something else, like something like that. So it probably wasn't the best, and probably wouldn't be as good as I do it now, obviously. But that's how you learn too. So you learn by mistakes.
That's the truth.
Yeah, you learn. As long as you learn from your mistakes too. If you make mistakes, learn from it. That's
absolutely.
I think the best advice. We had Chris D'Antonio on a couple weeks ago, and I think he said it best of where they just told him, "Yeah, don't fuck it up, kid."
That's funny. That's Warbeard Hansen and what's his name? Ivar.
Oh right, yes, yep.
That was always his line to Kevin Quinn before Kevin Quinn would go out, and Warbeard would look up at him and go, "Kevin, don't fuck it up." He's like, "Okay."
It's great advice. Hey,
it's good advice. Hey, just don't.
That's usually the advice I give to people. Like, like I used to say that to our friends at karaoke night. Hey, don't fuck it up.
Don't fuck it up. Should get a T-shirt made. Hey, don't fuck it up.
Oh man, there we go. We were talking about T-shirts last week,
right,
boys.
There's your merch. There's your catchphrase. Don't fuck it up.
Get that merch. Don't fuck it up.
That's T-shirt number 2. Number 1 is still who needs to drop a deuce with the Bruce.
Buy our non-existent shirts. Coming soon, maybe.
Coming soon. Fuck.
Brought to you by our non-existent sponsors.
Yes.
Speaking of fucking it up, though, that is the worst feeling in the world when you actually do fuck something up.
I think that should be the next story, maybe. How about the first time you really fucked up?
Wow.
The first time I really fucked up, I'm not too worried about it.
Can I not to interrupt, but can I preface this with, when you were trained, did they tell you, like, listen, just count, don't worry about anything, like I guess, not to kind of interrupt, but did they just say, look,
I want
to
count
to 3, it's not your
count
fault,
with intent, basically, is what you're saying.
Count it as the shoot, right?
Yes.
And you do and you don't, because you really don't want to count to 3 if the guy just happens to kick out like a little bit late. I mean, if it's obvious, you got to be ready to slap the mat. And that's what I learned from fucking up. I want to say I fucked up 2-3 counts. I don't want to jinx myself, but that was and one was like one of those, like, there were 6 eliminations in the match. It was like a scramble like type deal where I fucked up. But the second one was like a really bad one where it was like a feud blow off. It was AJ Cruz versus Dan the Man. Actually,
Dan the Man. There's a name I know.
Dan the Man. Oh yeah,
Dan the Man. My former tag partner Andy Vivians was a former tag partner of Dan the Man. Says back in the day.
I know. I know Vivians.
Yep.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
I think he doesn't live too far. He lives in New York, right?
Yeah, he lives right down
too far from us.
Yeah, Wappingers.
Yeah. I'm up in Kingston, so. For those of you in the New York area, like,
you can come stalk us now. Find us.
We did a whole bit on this podcast about 90s stores. Trust me, people know that we're New York locals from there.
So yeah, back.
So Dan the Man.
So they did the finish, but like there was supposed to be interference in the match, right? There was supposed to be like a little. They were introducing like a new guy, and he was supposed to like do a little interference on the outside. So I thought, like, in my mind, I was like, all right, the finish can't happen until that happens. So, like, we got to get to that spot. And they hit the finish, and it just didn't register because we didn't get to the interference spot. And I just went 1, 2, 3. They were pretty hot, and I don't blame them for it. It was like a big blow off, like.
That's a long.
Too. And if you know Dan, like, I mean, Dan's a cool guy too, but he was not fucking happy. Dude. He blew up, and like I said, I don't really blame him. I was like, I'm sorry. Like, I was just thinking about the interference spot. We never got to it, and I just didn't even like think about like we're going home. But like I said, and I got a good piece of advice from actually a guy who's in that wrestling school named Scott Cardinale, who no one's probably even heard of, but like could have been a really good talent. Just for whatever reason, never got there. He was actually one of Bobby Fischer's old tag team partners. But he was in the show at the time. He's Vinny. He's like, you can't sell it. That was your mistake. You sold the mistake. So just go at it. Like, you don't sell like you fucked up. Just like bang it. Like, and that's what you do. And if if the guy kicks out last second, you can always slip it and be like, no, we got up in time. There's ways to fix it. You know what I mean? Instead of just being like, fuck, I fucked up in the middle of everybody and just stop. Like, that's probably the worst thing you could do.
Makes sense. I mean, listen, it makes sense, and like, it happens. Like, we see it.
It's happened in WWE,
right? Like, you've seen it plenty of times.
We see it on TV all the time. It's one of those things that unfortunately is part of the business, and when there's cameras rolling, especially, unfortunately, it gets seen.
Apparently, colloquially, that is referred to as the ref trying to fuck on you.
Yes. That's the Botchamania Cody Rhodes quote. Who said it? I watched the thing the other day about
DiBiase Jr.
DiBiase Jr.
Yeah.
Where's that referee?
The most recent episode of Botchamania,
they explained
it.
We've
shown this before, but back now.
And it's just
Cody is not a guy I'd want to fuck up a match in. That's for sure.
No,
I mean, even when he worked for us in Northeast Wrestling, he was the champion, and he took it. He took that even seriously. That's independent wrestling, you think these guys come out here and they just, getting paid and they fucking just half-ass it. No, a lot of these guys come out there and they give their all. And
they're trying to, make a name for themselves and get recognized. And
I'm talking about like guys like Cody Rhodes. Like, who is he going to make?
Well, and especially Northeast Wrestling. I mean, we've covered it on this podcast. Like, they're, as far as independents go, just the names they get. Every date on the calendar, there's someone there.
It's funny how, like, sorry to cut you off, Mike, but like you were saying before, like how like one of your first independent shows was Northeast Wrestling, and one of my first independent shows that I went to was Northeast Wrestling as well, when they were at the Civic Center. And I remember like kind of having the same feeling where like I had been on the fence about like training for years and stuff like that. Andy had been begging me to come train with him for years because I've known him since high school. I went to that Northeast Wrestling show with my girlfriend at the time, actually, which was kind of funny. And after the show, I was just like, I really want to do this. Like, I want to go at least learn. Like, I don't know if I'm ever going to get famous. I don't think I'm ever going to be some big name, not like that. But like, I want to learn how to wrestle. I want to get in the ring, and that was like one of the things that kind of drove me to want to actually go for it.
And once you get in, it's a great experience, and I knew I never wanted to be a wrestler, right? I'm 5'8". I've never been like, I was kind of athletic, but never like really like super athletic. I was never really big into like lifting weights and getting big, so I was never gonna be a big guy, and I wasn't athletic enough to be like the next Rey Mysterio or whatever. I wasn't gonna be doing flips all over the place and killing myself like that. I just don't have that in me. But I knew like if I got into refereeing, like that could be something that I could do. I could do that. I could make that my role. It's a great role for me because I don't have to be the focus of the show, right? I don't have to be the focus of the match. I'm kind of I always try to tell people what referee in professional wrestling. It's like you're almost like the straight man in a comedy act where like this ridiculous stuff is going on around you, and you're the actual like adult human being in the room being like, guys, this is like relax. Like, these are the rules. We're following the rules here. Like, we can't. Why are we deviating from the rule? Meanwhile, they're outside the ring hitting each other with crap. And I'm like, guys, get in the ring. Like, what are you doing? Like, we got to be in here. Like, you got to, stuff like that.
I thought of it like that, and that's actually,
yeah. That's kind of how I see my role as the referee.
I understand. I understand you want to brawl through the crowd and get weapons, but come on.
Like sometimes I'll say things like the heel will be jaw jacking with the fans, and I'll be like, your opponent's in the ring, and it'll be like, look at me like, yeah, I know, like I'm jaw jacking with the fans. I'm like, yeah, I know that. I know you're getting heat, but
he doesn't realize that you're working with
I'm working here too. Like I'm saying I'm working too. Like that's the thing. Like fans will pick up on that kind of stuff. Fans, especially nowadays, they're all smartened up, right? It's not 1975 where you're going to get like stabbed by somebody because they really think like you're murdering somebody in the ring. For the most part, I mean, some people you never know, but you still try to keep that kayfabe. But that's more for show, right? It's kind of like pomp and circumstance now. It's the whole the idea of kayfabe it's like almost like, I don't know. It's like a curtain, right? It's a curtain everybody knows is there. But we still pretend it's there because it helps the story, it helps the product, it helps the fans enjoy it. You have to have that. You go to movies, you know a movie's fake. You go to a horror movie, you know a movie's fake. You know no one's getting killed, but you still have that like level of suspense where it's like, oh my god, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, and you can still emotionally feel for those characters too, whether it's movies or wrestlers 100%. Too. So like people can get really behind the good guys, boo the bad guys, and even when you like the bad guys, you can still like boo their actions, but still kind of pop for him at times because you see it all the time.
But also too, you know how good they are at being a villain, so you you appreciate that.
Except for MJF, who is a certified piece of shit,
according to his mother.
He's so good at being a piece of shit, though.
He is a piece of shit,
and he knows. I think he knows he's a piece of shit. But you say that, and I don't want to break kayfabe here, but I've hung out with MJF. Seems like a really good guy. When I hung out with him, obviously that was a long time ago. I think the last time I saw him, he kind of big time me anyway. So whatever. Wow. But he doesn't know. He doesn't know. He doesn't know who I am. I don't know. I'm not gonna freaking be that guy. Like, oh my god, you big time me.
I feel like behind the curtain, he'd be like a nice guy. I don't know.
Yeah, why. He was actually really cool. I feel
like because he's so over the top, like he's probably like backstage. He's probably just like he's the guy that shakes everybody's hand kind of guy. At least that's the way I want to think.
Don't break the illusion for CJ.
Whatever. Like I said, I've worked with him a couple times. Really, he's really fun to work with. He's really entertaining in the ring. He's got his gimmick, and it's been a long time, and he's obviously gotten a lot better since probably the last time I worked with him, which was now probably like 5-6 years ago. Time, that's the thing too. Like right now, and I don't know if it has to do with COVID or not too, but I like everything feels like it's like within the past 5 years feels like it's like 2 years ago.
No, you're
right.
I remember
a long time.
It's hard to I think back and I'm like,
we're all feeling that way.
Yeah, that was like 2 years ago, and I'm like, man, that was like 2016. I'm like, what? Like I'll go through like my Facebook memories and see posters. I'd be like, 5 years ago. I feel like that show was like 2018.
It's because we lost like a whole like year and a half of time, just gone.
I was there 3,000 years ago.
To be fair, though, I mean, when you're older, time just moves quicker. So you're like, yeah, no,
that's
like,
true too.
Like 5 years ago,
I am getting old. Thanks for
5 years ago feels like 2010. Like that's just how it goes. So how long did you kind of bounce around the indies, and then I guess when did you finally make it to Northeast Wrestling?
So started in 2004. So when I started, I might have said 2003 before. That's not when I started. It was 2004. But anyway, 2003 is when I started working at the high school. I started refereeing in 2004. Anyway, I didn't get into Northeast Wrestling until 2014. There have been some guys like in my corner. I think Brian Anthony was trying to get me in there for a while. But referees, there's only so many spots, right? And no one brings in a referee to draw a crowd in, right? People bring referees in because they need a referee, and they look for good referees. So it's not like there's only so much you can promote yourself as a referee, because if the spot's taken and they're happy with what's going on, that's what's going on. So however, whatever happened. Oh, actually, you know what it was? So there was a company, I don't know if you guys knew about Connecticut Wrestling Entertainment. CTWE was the name of the promotion.
I don't know why that.
It was actually
I know.
Sort of it actually ran out of the Bethany Town Hall, which is where Northeast Wrestling runs their smaller shows, or Bethany Town Hall NEW Arena shows. We call it the NEW Arena now.
Nice.
But yeah, it was this guy Joey Bricko, who I met through working for Defiant Pro Wrestling, which was Mike Milano's company, who Tony Video got me in there when I first started. So I've been working there for a while. Met him through that, started CTWE. CTWE shut down, and Northeast Wrestling was just kind of starting to like ramp things up again. They had been kind of like quiet for a while. They made a run like shows here or there. But he was really looking to get in the building, run shows like almost every month there, and then use that to kind of promote the bigger shows. So that's I've known Brian Anthony for a pretty long time. That goes back to like Connecticut Championship Wrestling, which was like in the late 2000s. I met him through there. He'd been trying to work, get me in there for a while. So finally, it opened up in Northeast. Going to Northeast Wrestling, taking over for CTWE. So that merger was kind of like, not merger, but as they were kind of like taking over, I started doing some of their bigger shows. I remember, I think my first show for them, I think it was in like Torrington, Connecticut. And then one of my first, it was probably maybe like my third show for them was the big show at Dutchess Stadium that they do almost every year. It's been a while now since COVID, but we used to do those big Wrestling Under the Stars shows at the Dutchess Stadium. And I got to work the Hardy Boys versus the Young Bucks. So that was that
happened in Northeast.
That happened in Northeast Wrestling.
It did, yeah.
I think it was the first time they actually wrestled at Northeast Wrestling. They wrestled twice for Northeast Wrestling. It's actually on YouTube, so you can go look that up. Hardy Boys versus the Young Bucks at Wrestling Under the Stars. I think that was probably like my maybe second or third show with the company. And I got that match, and I was like, "This is awesome!" And I'm lucky to be a part of it. That referee crew with Christy Antonio, who you've had on, who you guys know, guy Kevin Quinn, this guy Eric, and now we brought this another guy Bill on. But it's a great ref crew. It's everyone's. There's no bickering about like who's got what matches. No one. Not that we could argue about that, because the promoter would be like, "This is what you're doing." Like, you're not changing it. But like nobody, like we all get along together. We're all really good friends. It's always a good time, because even referees can be a little bit like egotistical sometimes. I've really never tried to be. I try to stay pretty humble. I never even really consider myself in the wrestling business. I've always said I'm like business adjacent. Because I've never done that. I've worked with guys who've done this full time, right? I've done this guys who've done this full time for their entire lives. Like, so for me to call myself like in the business, I feel like that's a bit pretentious for me to say. But I'm definitely like been around the business, and I've been like a part of the business, and I'm like a business adjacent. And so that's what I call it. So.
I like that.
You've never, I won't say, so you've never really done it full time. You've kind of just been like, hey, this is this thing I do. I get to go, I'm gonna like work my job during the week, and then I'm gonna go ref the Hardys and Young Bucks on Saturday.
On the weekends. Yeah.
Not a bad weekend.
And that's a lot of independent wrestling referees. Like, none of us are making tons of money on the shows, right? So
I think that's a lot of independent wrestling.
I mean, a lot of independent wrestling, even let's be honest, even the ones that you would think were like, oh, that's probably their full-time job. No, it's not. They have other jobs that they have to worry about. One of the reasons I think I kind of held myself back too is because I like my job, my shoot job, as they say in the business, my shoot job. I do like the job, but it also comes with a lot of like Friday nights and Saturday days. So I've had to turn down things where I've probably lost opportunities because of my job. But you got to put food on the table.
No, of course. I mean, have you ever had a shot to move up? Whether, maybe, I don't know if WWE ever, but like, I don't know, something national, or whether.
And like I said, I've never really put myself out there.
Right.
And it's a lot of it has to do with my job. Like, I would love to like contact Impact or something like that, and just to get that kind of experience. But they, they're gonna do like a 4-week stretch sometime.
Right.
I can't go around for that. I don't have.
No, of course.
I don't have the time for that. That'd be cool, but yeah, that's like I said, I've never really like reached out to those companies and like really pushed myself to try to get to that next level. My goal was always to work for Northeast Wrestling, and my other personal goal was to work in the Mid-Hudson Exhibit Center, which is something I got to do twice. I got to do a main event there, and I've basically reached my goals in professional wrestling. As far as I thought I would want to go, I've made it. It took a while. It probably took a little bit longer than I would like. It took a little bit, but it happened. So I can't complain. Like I said, if I never stepped in a wrestling ring again, I could sit back and say like I had a very successful career as an independent wrestling referee. Calling it a career is even weird to me, because it's like it's never been my full-time job. Like, it's never been it's just something I kind of like, and I do it on the weekends, and people say I'm good at it, and that's what it is.
I always felt it was kind of weird using the terms like career and retired now that I don't do it anymore.
One of my favorite quotes is you guys know Donovan Dijak. What do they call him now? I forget his name in WWE.
Oh God,
T-Bar, right? Isn't he T-Bar? No, he's T-Bar now.
T-Bar now?
Yeah, isn't he T-Bar now?
Oh Jesus.
Yes. They need to just let him go so he can not be T-Bar.
Yeah, he needs to go back.
This is why.
I'm sure. I'm hoping T-Bar is making some good money working for Vince at least.
Yes, yes, that.
So, T-Bar, huh? Okay. Anyway, one of my favorite things. I think it was Kevin Quinn said something about, or not, like Kevin's another referee that we work with. I think he said something about retiring once. He said, "What do you mean retire?" He's like, "You've never done this. You've never done this full time. You can't retire from professional wrestling."
Yeah.
He's like, "This isn't your job. You can't retire from something that's not your job." I was like, "Yeah, that's true." Yeah, I'm not. I don't have a pension. Mike Lombardi does take care of me. Northeast Wrestling takes care of me, but I don't have a 401k through the company or anything.
We do hear good things about Mike Lombardi and the company as a whole. So it's good to hear that he's taking care of guys.
Yeah, he's been great. And like, listen, it's definitely, you get to a point in your career, right, where it's. We talked about this a little bit before the show. You start and you're not making any money. Like you're literally losing money, right? Because you're paying for transportation, even if it's gas in your car and putting miles on your car, you're losing money. And then you get to a point where you're like, I'm breaking even. I'm breaking even. Yeah, this is cool. Then you get to a point where like, oh, you know what? I made a little bit of money. It wasn't a lot of money, but I made a little bit of money. And then you get to a point where you're like, oh wow, like I made some money this weekend where I can actually like take that money and do something with it. Like I can go, like, I can use this money to go out to dinner and like maybe
you don't have to spend it on a pack of gum.
Put it towards a vacation, right? Yeah, it's not like oh this is dinner at McDonald's after the show, right? Like
I feel like you've heard.
Or you go to Applebee's and you know I had.
Oh, we got the two. We got enough for the 2 for $20.
Yeah, there's your payday down the drain. So, but yeah, but then it's yeah, I could actually like take my wife out to dinner. I can, you know, I can put this towards a vacation if I work enough shows over like bigger shows over the weekend. Like,
cool. I mean, we've heard the whole like hot dog and a handshake thing as a wrestling payment.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, I'm assuming you've been there before.
Yeah, like my first payday was a T-shirt.
That blows. Like
it was I still have it. It was a choice. Now, like I said, I want to be fair. I want to be fair to Jeff because he gave me the T-shirt, but he did take me under his wing and he did charge me to train. So that was definitely a fair trade. I never asked him for money. I think he might have paid me once, to be honest with you. I used to do the driving too, so that kind of probably didn't still even things out because wrestling school's expensive. Honestly, I don't think I ever would have gotten to it if I would have had to pay the money to get into a wrestling school. So I'm very grateful to the opportunity that I got to not only like not have to be one of these referees who were never really technically got trained, but to actually get it pro bono. It's like, come on, I just got lucky.
Hey, sometimes listen, it's about who you know. It's about luck.
It's
whatever,
a lot of it
whatever gets you in the door.
Like I said, I'm lucky to be working for Northeast Wrestling. If I never would have, taken the path that I did, worked in the DPW shows for Mike Milano, who unfortunately passed away, and then that led to CTWE, and then that led to Northeast Wrestling. It's just one of the, it's like you said, it's the path your career takes. It like branches out. Like I said, I remember trying to get back with Northeast Wrestling. And probably not even realize I probably was still too green to think when I really think about it back then, because it was still like 2008, 2009, I want to say, when I was like really trying to email them and getting on there. And I'd only been working for a few years, and it wasn't really like because of my job too. It wasn't I wasn't one of these guys who was working like 2 shows a weekend, right? I would work maybe like 2 shows a month here, right. 1 show a month here. Where I got a lot of my experience, actually, I want to give a shout out to Sheldon Goldberg from New England Championship Wrestling. Bob Evans was booking for him at the time, and that was one of the companies that Zach the Ref got me into. And at the time, really innovative stuff. Like it was probably like 2005. They were doing internet tapings, right? So they were running a school called Slam Tech at the time. Brutal Bob Evans was the trainer there, and basically on a Sunday morning at like 8 a.m. in Rhode Island. So like I was waking up and leaving my house at like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know anybody out there too. So I was driving by myself all the way, leaving from New York, driving out to Rhode Island. It's like a 4-hour trip, going there. But it got me such good experience because we did it like old TV tapings, right? There was no crowd. The workers sat in the crowd and they would cheer for the faces, boo the heels in the crowd. All the boys would, and girls. And, we'd work 2, 3, 4, 5, like TV matches. Like if you go back and watch those old, even nowadays, those matches are short. Those TV matches, you really don't think about it, but they're like 2-3 minutes sometimes. You go bell to bell. A lot of it's entrances and stuff like that. So if you cut those out or cut those down, it's really only like 3-4 minutes in the ring. But we would tape like 20, 30, 40 a day. Right, and they would tape them, and they would put them on. They would put them online. It was like QuickTime videos on the website. Yeah, it was like back, but that was innovative, like right for the time.
Yeah,
like if they would have just stuck with that model, it probably would have once YouTube, because I don't even think YouTube was a thing yet.
No, I don't think so.
They could have been like one of the. They would have been like one of the first wrestling promotions on YouTube.
If YouTube was a thing, it was still like brand new. Like nobody like knew about it yet.
Yeah,
man,
it was just people posting cat videos.
Yeah,
right.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
You could have posted it on like MySpace or something. Man,
I don't think MySpace was a thing yet. Maybe no.
Okay, they posted on their live journal.
Yeah, right.
Live journal.
Their AOL homepage.
Oh my God!
I had one of those. I had one of those in college.
It's their AIM away messages.
Computer that
they post clips up as their away messages.
Oh my God!
Gotta watch. You gotta IM them to get the match.
They did it on their computer that they got from the Caldors, where all the music is now.
And it all comes full circle.
Shout out our sponsor, Caldor. Sue us, you can't. You're broke.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, that was really innovative. I look back at that. I'm like, man, if they just would have stuck with that, they could put in like the first wrestling company like on YouTube. But
it's amazing, like just the timing. Like if they were around for 2-3 years later, who knows?
Yeah.
But I mean, think about it. That was they knew like the internet was going to be this thing that you were able to watch media on. Like back then, people were still having dial-up. It was like I said, it was like 2005. There were a lot of people that still had dial-up modems.
It was still taking like 5 minutes just to download a picture of a bush.
No comment.
Talking about plants.
I
work in a talking about plants, guys.
Come on.
Get your heads out of the gutters, guys.
That's what I said. That's what I figured. I pegged you as a horticulturist.
Ask me to spell it. I can't.
I don't even know if that's the right word. Sounded smart.
So you fast forward, I guess, I don't know. I feel like I have to ask this question to everybody. Who were some of the coolest guys that you've had a chance to work with? I guess in Northeast Wrestling, I guess in the last, 8 years. See, this is the year thing again. You said 2014 you started.
Right. Yeah.
That makes no sense to me that was 8 years.
Yeah, this is the name drop segment.
Yes.
No, like I said, like Matt and Jeff Hardy, I've gotten to both work with those guys way more times than I've ever should have. They are always amazing to be in the ring with. Matt, there was one summer I think I ref so many Matt matches, like I had his match down basically. Like I knew where he was going. But yeah, I just learned so much from working with the guys like that. One guy I worked 2 matches with, and like I learned so much from those 2 matches, was Joey Mercury. Yeah, that's a name that I don't think people would like realize like how like wrestling smart that guy is.
Well, isn't he? He's an agent right now.
He was an agent. I don't know if he's there anymore.
Yeah, it's hard to tell these days.
Yeah, but yeah, he was. I think he was an agent for a while.
He definitely was, and didn't they? He was also doing that J&J security thing a while back.
Oh yeah,
yeah, I remember that.
And that was great. All those J&J spots were fantastic, and he knew the role, and he, like you said, the wrestling mind on a guy like that, goes very underrated most of the time.
Yeah, I got to work a really good match with him, like him and Flip Gordon, at the NEW area. Another good match I worked, actually, I like to point this out because it was like one of my favorite matches, and it was JT Dunn versus John Morrison. That was one of the baseball stadiums.
Wait.
Connecticut.
What was his name?
What was his last name?
I don't remember.
Exactly. See,
Johnny last name.
I call him
Johnny Northeast. We'll call him.
Yeah.
Call him Johnny Northeast.
He
should just change his name. Whatever company he works for, that should be the name. Like he should be
AEW. He was Johnny Elite.
Johnny Elite. Johnny. If he goes back to the Vince, you just name him Johnny Entertainment. I think it's a great gimmick. My last name is whatever company is on the paycheck.
I was a big fan of Johnny Wonderful.
I kind of like Johnny Entertainment. That's hilarious.
Johnny Entertainment, right? It's a good gimmick name.
I think so.
And guys that not everyone who listens to this might recognize, but a guy like Brian Anthony, who I do owe a lot to in wrestling, just for him putting my name into Michael Lombardi's head, and to get into Northeast Wrestling. But like always so much fun to work with him. There's a clip of us in Six Flags Great Adventure, and he's working Jerry Lawler, and he has this idea, and it's one of my favorite spots I've ever done. He knocks Jerry out or whatever, right? And he's like, I think he was still doing the King gimmick, like Brian was doing a King gimmick as well, or he just stopped doing the King gimmick, but whatever. He's like, I'm gonna smash his crown. We're at Six Flags Great Adventure. And if you guys have a chance to come down we're doing a show there on June 18th. If you have those are always really, really entertaining shows.
I feel like
it's free with park admission.
I think Chris mentioned that to us actually.
Yeah, probably. Chris is good at plugging things too.
Are you? I don't want to interrupt, but are you having a show at the American Dream Mall? Because Chris was talking about that, and it's not confirmed, but I don't think it was.
I don't know what's going on there.
Okay.
That was kind of up in the air.
That's fine.
Check the northeastwrestling.com website for all your up to date information. I do know June 18th I will be at Six Flags Great Adventure. I'm missing 4 of the big shows that are coming up at the end of July. Unfortunately, I booked my vacation before the shows came out, so I'm missing the Civic Center show this year, which I'm a little disappointed about because, like I said, that was my goal to work in that building. And I've gotten to do it a few times, but it's always a great time to work. Like that's usually like one of our bigger shows of the year, and it's a stressful day, but it's sort of like one of those good stressfuls, like you accomplish something, like you were a part of this thing that came together, and like you usually smash out of the park. But anyway, going back to my Six Flags spot, yes. June 18th, Six Flags Great Adventure, free with park admission, extra fee to sit ringside. But anyway, Brian Anthony knocks out Jerry Lawler. I'm gonna smash his crown. So he gets the crown, and he tells me to hold it on my foot, like Lucy holds the football. Right. And now that I said how Lucy holds the football, you know what's coming next. Ryan runs up, goes to kick it. I sprint out of the way. I'm like, no, big exaggerated like wrestling face. No, you can't do this to Jerry Lawler. You can't do this to Jerry Lawler's crown. You can't kick this. He takes an ass over tea kettle. That's the phrase. Jerry gets up, punches him, hits him with the stunner. 1, 2, 3. But it was just a great, and that was all Brian. And that's just like he's got a really good wrestling mind for someone who's never done it full time. Like I've worked with that guy so many times, and it's always a lot of fun. So yeah, while I'm name dropping, I got to name drop Brian Anthony as well.
Yeah, I've seen some Brian Anthony's work, and he is
incredible.
I can tell you firsthand. Well, not firsthand, obviously. You can tell us firsthand. Right. I can tell you kind of secondhand that his work is indeed very good.
Yes. He's one of those guys you just know he gets wrestling. He gets it can be the old school silly stuff, right? It doesn't always have to be 1,000 moves a minute. It doesn't always have to be like bang, bang, bang. Like tell a story, and he's so good at telling that story.
Less is more sometimes.
A lot of the time, because people forget. Like you can do 3 flips in a match. They're not going to remember all 3 of them. If if you have 3 or 4 like good false finishes, okay, maybe they might remember kind of like how exciting it was, like, oh my god, he almost won, but you're gonna forget what move you hit after a while. But that's me. I'm just like I said, I grew up in the Hulkamania era, right? Ain't no one doing flips back then because they were all 350 pounds. It was just a different style of wrestling.
Mastodons.
And then you go back even further, and I'm sure the kids today would watch 80s wrestling and think it's boring, but I watch 70s wrestling, and as much as some people like it, I think it's horrendously boring, to be honest with you. Like I can't watch a lot of 70s stuff.
It just shows the evolution of it. I mean, the crap, the things that didn't exist, the generation prior, people pull out this, it's incredible.
Well, you build, right? And you keep building and keep building and keep building. For me, and I think this has just to do with me doing this for so long, it's all starting to look the same. That's my biggest problem with wrestling now. Watching the product, I feel like I've seen almost everything, and it's because maybe I have, but like I said,
you can progress so much, and then at some point, like how many more things?
Well, you look back at the Attitude Era, right, and talk about the Hardy Boys. Like Jesus Christ, like you go back to those tables, ladders, and chairs matches, and like you can't keep that up. And now you can't ask the person coming up next. You can't ask them to do something like that. And there's only so many times you can they have 3 of those big TLC matches.
Yeah. They did, yeah.
Yeah, then other people try to build on them, but nothing will be probably what the second one. I think that was the best one.
That was the WrestleMania one.
Yeah, I believe so.
But it's yeah. Like I said, you got to build on it. But there's only so much of a limit you can go to.
Well, that's the thing now is like they're trying to find ways to push the envelope, but like you said, like we've kind of seen it all at this point. But I know there's still some things that like I see nowadays that are still pretty cool, but a lot of the stuff you see when they try to push this envelope just slips into the dangerous area, and that's where it gets scary because I see a lot of indie videos, especially of just guys just not being smart. I just saw a video yesterday of Joey Janela lighting his boot on fire and not being able to put it out. So shit like that.
You don't do something like that without having a plan.
Yeah,
like I don't know if the plan went awry. I wasn't. I obviously.
I was saying, did I see the ref dump a bottle of water on his foot to try and put it out?
How do you not? You got to either smother it or have a fire extinguisher, one or the other.
But if you're gonna light something on fire, you better have a fire extinguisher nearby.
Yeah,
just in case. Like even if you think you could be able to put it out by smothering it, or you think it's gonna go out really quickly, you need to have a plan. God, what's his name? He lit himself on fire at a DPW show once, and he went through a flaming table and his kick pad. Those things are flammable.
Yep.
And that went up, and it burnt his foot pretty bad. He's gonna. Well, he's not probably gonna listen to this. No offense to you guys, but he'd kill me if I didn't. I can picture him. He did a clown gimmick. Good guy, but I can't picture. I can't come up with his name right now. Anyway, speaking of clowns, since we're telling stories, I guess that's why I'm here, is to tell stories. I did an infamous match that you guys might have heard of. I don't know if you have or not. This is, I believe, in 2011 in White Plains, New York. Doink the Clown wrestled Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Oh, yes. Oh, you ref that match?
I refereed that match.
I've seen the videos of that match. I'm surprised I didn't recognize it.
Was it the Matt Bourne
match where Matt Bourne, Hacksaw Jim Duggan got into a fight in the middle of a wrestling ring with me in the middle of them.
Like a shoe fight?
Yes.
I was about to say, I remember, I know about this match. I'm just trying to remember.
And I just sat there. I looked at it. I said, what are we doing? I didn't know they had heat. It's the weirdest thing. So I've told this story before. I'm backstage, and for a little inside baseball, at least I'll go and like get the finish, from the guys. Right. What do you guys want to go home with? Going home, for those of you who know, means end the match. Where are you guys going to go? So I go to Matt. I think I went to Matt Bourne first. He goes, talk to Duggan. He's like, I don't know. Talk to Duggan. That's weird. Okay. Go to Duggan. Duggan, hey, no one told me what's the finish. He goes, I'm going to hit him with the deal. Right. I know what his deal is. I've been watching the guy since 1985. Like 3-point stance, clothesline. Cool. They get in the ring, and I think Duggan grabbed a headlock, or it's furry, it's fuzzy now. One of them grabbed a headlock, and one of them tried to reverse it, and he went no. Tried to reverse it again, no. It just wasn't working. They weren't working together. So he breaks out of it. They wrestle for a little bit. They go to the mat. I remember Pope was doing commentary. I hear him go, "Get in there, ref, break it up." And I looked at him. I was like, "You're crazy." So they get up and they square off. And then there's the famous, "You want to work or you want to fight?"
That's the line I was waiting.
You want to work? And they're fisting up. And I'm just like looking at them like, guys, like this is the first time I've worked with this company. This is the first time I've worked with Jim Duggan or Matt Bourne. It's one of my first times working like an actual like names that I grew up watching, like kind of that deal. And I'm just looking at him like, guys, what are we doing? What's going on here? Matt Bourne leaves, grabs a chair. Duggan, being a worker, grabs his 2x4.
As he is wont to do.
Right? Grabs his 2x4. Matt Bourne's got a chair. He's outside the ring. I'm like, what's going on? Duggan goes, count him out. I went, you leave the ring, I'll count you both out. And he did. And I don't know why I thought that. I think in my mind, I was just going, in my mind, my thought process was, nobody deserves to win this match. I don't want to raise anybody's hand. I'm like, you leave the ring. You leave the ring pissed off. He leaves the ring pissed off. I count the double count out. Nobody wins. Nobody loses. And I don't know why, like that popped in my mind, but that's what I thought. And he listened. The weirdest part was he actually listened to me.
Yeah.
Thinking back at it, I was like, why did he even listen to me? Like, why didn't he just be like, no, shut the fuck up. Count the. I'll hacksaw Jim Duggan. You're a nobody referee. I said, count him out. Count him out. Whatever.
Now, do you have any intel on what the heat was there starting it, or
I looked up obviously I haven't talked to him about it. I did look it up online because after that happened, it was like a big story in the in the internet wrestling community. So I remember looking it up, and someone eventually asked him, like on an interview, like, what the hell would happen? And the story they gave was apparently, I think Matt Bourne got into a fight in a bar. Duggan kind of stepped in, knocked the guy's eye out or damaged somebody's eye, and the guy ended up suing Matt, and Duggan didn't take care of him. I guess that's the story I heard. You'd have to go like search up. I'm sure it's up now. The lore is out there somewhere, but it's what it is. But yeah, that was one of my most infamous matches. That was also the same night I broke Jerry Lynn's nose, which doesn't get Jerry Lynn's
nose? Now transition to that.
What?
Yes. It was a very bad night for me professionally.
Apparently, so.
I started with that.
Okay.
The second match
to be fair, one wasn't your fault.
No, the first one was not my fault. The second match I did that night was like a 6-way scramble. A bunch of people were in that match. But the final spot was a balcony dive. And I want to say it was Danny Demento did a balcony dive to somebody. I can't remember who the person who took the dive was. But when he took the dive, he was smaller. But when he took the dive, he was out of it. And I don't know what happened on the way down. Like when he got crashed down on, I went over, checked on him, gave him a little squeezy, like, dude, are you alive?
The Iggy?
And I didn't want, I was trying to protect the business a little bit.
I'm sorry.
Nobody knows what that means. That's fine. A little squeezy. He doesn't respond at all. And I'm like tapping him, I'm like, dude. So I'm like, I'm throwing up the X. I'm like, dude, get the doctor out here, blah, blah, blah. We go backstage. He goes, dude, why'd you stop the match? I said, do you remember what happened? He goes, no. I said, that's why I stopped the match. You were out of it. And like, it was like, I don't know. He could have pinned him on the floor, maybe. I don't know. Whatever. He was hurt. I ended the match. It was fine. Whatever. So in the third match, Jerry Lynn versus Vampiro. And I'm kind of psyched for this match, right? I was a big Jerry Lynn mark, like in the late 90s. I remember when he like jumped to the WWE to like, it was like a Sunday night heat before pay-per-view to win the Cruiserweight title against X-Pac. I popped for that. What's that?
I was watching that live.
Yeah, I was at a Hooters and I was in college. I think I'm watching that. If I remember correctly. That's what I call all my pay-per-views in college. Is that we go to Hooters every
we went to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah, right. Before
there was no such thing as the Buffalo Wild Wings. Yeah, they were probably still out in Buffalo still. It was the Hooters in Milford, Connecticut, because I went to college at Sacred Heart University in Fairfield. Anyway, that's not important. Important part is Jerry Lynn, Vampiro. I'm psyched. I love Jerry Lynn. I'm like, this is awesome. Blah, blah, blah. We do a spot where they're in the corner beating on each other. And I kind of like move them, like, break it up, right? So I throw the one off. Oh, no, I try to get between them and they throw me off. That was the spot. I got to get between them, they throw me off. So Vampiro's boom, 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 boom. I get in, Vampiro throws me off. Jerry Lynn reverses. Then Jerry Lynn's in there. Pop, 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 pop. I go to Jerry Lynn. He throws me off. For whatever reason, I'd make this movement, and the tip of my elbow just caught the bridge of his nose in like the most freak accident. I turn around. He's on the mat, bleeding profusely from his nose. Goes, I think you broke my fucking nose. I went, oh, fuck. We finished the match, whatever. We got through it. I go down. There was a bunch of shenanigans happening afterwards. So I think Jerry Lynn got down the stairs before I did. I'm walking downstairs and I'm like, I don't know how this is going to go. Like, I don't know Jerry Lynn. Is he gonna want to fight me? Like, am I gonna have to fight Jerry Lynn? Like, what is going on? Like, I don't know what's gonna happen.
My God.
Jerry Lynn is the nicest dude in the world. I go downstairs. He goes to me. He's like, I don't know what happened. I'm like, I'm sorry. He's like, it's okay. It's an accident. I get it. I'm like, I have no idea how that. He's like, I think like you thought I was gonna throw you, but I was like doing like a comedy, like I was gonna place you over there, and you like sold it like you were flying, and it was an accident. Nicest dude about it. I felt so fucking bad, but you know what? It worked out.
That's funny, man.
The fact that
I broke Jerry Lynn's nose. So I meet him. It's like 3-4 years later at a show in somewhere in Massachusetts, and I had his match.
Oh boy,
he doesn't remember me.
Oh boy,
so I don't tell him until after.
Yeah,
I worked his match, and I go, hey, just so you know, I didn't want to tell you before, but I remember I was the guy who broke your nose. He goes, I thought you looked familiar.
Nice.
I was like, yeah, that was me. Sorry about that.
And you just happen to be reffing his match again. How funny is that?
Yeah, I worked with him twice after that, and neither times I can safely say I did not break Jerry Lynn's nose. Two of the 3 matches that I've had with Jerry Lynn, I did not break his nose.
That's a pretty good record, man.
I like
that ratio.
So.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Great guy, amazing guy.
All in one night, the fight and
those are my I did not get that was for a company called Pro.
And the
Wrestling
dude got
Syndicate.
knocked the fuck out too. Like we're totally skipping the middle match where a dude just got clean knocked out.
I was not invited back to that promotion. Let's just say that.
Wow, really?
That was my one show for Pro Wrestling Syndicate, Pro Syndicate Wrestling and Pro Wrestling Syndicate, somewhere one or the other.
The promoter, as soon as Vinny walked out of the building, was just like,
he's like, fuck that
cloud
guy.
over that kid's head.
Yeah.
You got your money's worth.
I'm lucky I got my envelope that night. That's for sure. Hey, it's a story. It's a story I got to tell on the podcast. So,
you know. Absolutely. Sometimes it's just not your night, and you got to chalk it up to life sucks sometimes.
That was one of those nights. Like, yeah, I don't think I'll be invited back to this place. So.
Yep.
Oh well,
man, that's something. I guess to wind down a little bit, I always ask everyone, you don't have to name names if you don't want to, but we kind of been talking about good guys. What about the other sides? Anyone an asshole? That, again, no pressure. Don't name names if you don't want to, but I always got to ask. Anyone out there an asshole?
And honestly,
and just be careful if the answer is Jinder Mahal.
Oh,
I've never met Jinder Mahal. So I'm good with that.
It's a running joke that I started.
I love the inside.
Do you have heat with Jinder?
No, apparently Judge did, and we have a friend who like is not really a wrestling fan, but just leans really hard onto the Jinder Mahal train.
and Dutch has heat with Jinder Mahal. I didn't know that.
Not like heat, but he just said that he didn't really enjoy working with him.
Oh, well, that's fair. I don't know what it's like to work with him. Like you could, yeah. There's a big difference between not want to work with somebody and having heat with somebody.
No, it wasn't like heat. I don't want to make it bigger than it was.
I like to go around telling people I trained Bill Carr, which is not true.
We're gonna
Tony DeVito trained Bill Carr. I was a handful of times I was Bill Carr's basically play dummy. I took the bumps for Dutch. During training, a handful of times, but yeah, I like to go around saying, "Oh yeah, no, I trained Bill. He taught me."
Taught him everything he knows.
Yeah, you tell him. Yeah.
Everything he knows about dealing with the refs.
Tell you what, man, he gives you a suplex, you're way up there.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Bad stories.
I bumped around for, but no, like I'd like to think I'm a pretty easygoing guy, and like I said, I'm there to have fun and referee and have a good time and do my job, and and I don't have an ego about it. Like, the only reason I even like protect myself as a referee sometimes is because I know it's what the promoter wants. Like, right, the promoter, you can't have the referee. Like, you can't just be breaking all the rules. It makes the referee look useless out there. So like, but if that's what someone wanted in the match and promoter didn't care, I don't care. Like, what do I have to look good for? Like, I'm the referee. I could be your punching bag. I have no problem with that. I do get a little upset when the fans get heat with me when they should get heat on the heels.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I kind of take that personally, not personally, like the fans hate me, but personally, like I'm not doing my job to put heat on the heel. I'm taking heat away from the wrestlers, and that's not my role.
It's kind of a two-sided coin, I think, because I've seen
some people just like to get out the referees.
Well, no, that too, but I also I've seen it kind of go both ways, where sometimes like the ref gets some heat placed on him, deservedly so, because he's maybe taking too long with the distraction or whatever. But sometimes that's also lies on the wrestlers too. If the heel, if say in a tag team match, if the heel partner is pulling you into a corner and not letting you go for 2 minutes straight, meanwhile the dude's just beating a guy with a chair, that's not your fault that the dude's holding you too long while this guy's just going off on a guy.
Right.
So
and that's something you got to work out, because and I've had situations where like people have like done like a tag match, right? And another guy ran around the ring and pulled his opponent off the apron so he couldn't make the tag. But he did it right in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what the hell? Like set something up where I'm not looking or something. But and we went backstage, the promoter was like, what the hell was that? He's like, next time just disqualify him. Like that's not legal. Like you can't do that. Just disqualify him. And I'm like, I get it. But you don't in the moment, like you don't want to ruin these guys' matches.
Right.
Because it's about them. It's not about referee Vinnie Lawrence out there. But at the same time, like you said, you got to make the referee look believable, right? He needs to be the authority, or he or she needs to be the authority figure out there. Needs to be the person, like we said before, making this all make sense, making it real, making it tangible, not some silly like circus.
Well, I know I've said it before. I think I said it to Chris when he was on the show, but I can tell you from firsthand experience, nothing beats having a seasoned professional referee in the ring with you, because it makes all the difference when you're actually trying to work a match with somebody, when you actually have somebody that knows what they're doing in there.
Yeah, and that's something I don't really realize, because obviously I don't get to work matches. Like I'm not working out there with another referee. But you do watch some referees and you're just like, what? Like you just don't get, like you're not getting it. You're not getting it. And like you always, like one tip I always give referees is like, make sure you're always checking on the people, right? You're not actually like checking on them. What you're doing is, if they want to tell you something, to tell you the other guy or girl, I gotta stop with the guys and girls. I'm getting bad at that still. It's the old school. It's the old school in me. Dudes. I'm trying to change. I'm trying to change that. But anyway, if they want to send a message over, you got to be there, but you can't make it look obvious. They can't be over there like, huh? But that's why you're always checking on people. You're always checking, are you all right? What do you need? You're okay? Do you want to give up? Blah, blah, blah. That way they can look at you and be like, tell them to duck. Okay. And then you go over, blah, 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 and make sure you duck. Stuff like that. Don't make that stuff look obvious, because that really takes away from the illusion. I guess that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, you end up on Botchamania. No big deal.
End up on Botchamania. I've yet, knock on wood.
Matthews coming calling.
Knock on wood. I've not yet ended up on Botchamania. I have been in the background of a Botchamania clip, but it wasn't because of me. Slick Wagner Brown got mad at a sound guy because he played his wrong music. And he ended up throwing a water bottle at the sound guy. And it hit the laptop, fried his laptop.
Oh,
sound guy got hot.
Yeah,
took his stuff, made a scene, ran out the door. So I refereed that match, but it had nothing to do with me, so it doesn't count.
I have a question that CJ has inspired me to ask. Any bad travels?
Any bad travels?
CJ,
yes.
Your infamous example.
Yes.
Driving to Jersey.
Yeah. Well, like, all right. So for instance, like
driving to Jersey is always terrible. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. You mentioned before how the shows in Rhode Island, you had to wake up 5 a.m. Basically, like me and Andy Bivians, when we were working down in OTW, that was in Williamstown, New Jersey, which I don't know if you've ever been to. It's about 3.5 hours away.
So it's southern Jersey, yeah.
So yeah, like down by Atlantic City almost. Like it's
it's
about 40 minutes outside of AC. So, which we spent many a nights at because we just didn't feel like driving the 3 hours home after shows. So we would just go to AC and party.
Yeah.
But yeah, like just, I know just traffic stories, just waking up early and having to hit the road and missing schedules, everything else. Like we've had so many bad times. Like I'm not sure which one Skylar specifically is referring to right now, but I mean, I
just
definitely
any time in Jersey is just awful.
Like I definitely have them, so I'm sure you got them too. Like some bad times on the road.
Oh God, I've had cars break down. My car, the battery died once. So we had to get we had to go to a shop, get a battery, and still make the show. Lucky enough, I think that was Tri-State Wrestling, so we left early enough because I was driving the booker, so he needed to be there early. So luckily that we were still able to get there pretty early. But stuff like that. I remember one time riding with Tony out to Connecticut. We had a flat tire. We all had to miss the show. It was like 5 guys in a minivan. I think it was like me, Cheech and Cloudy, Tony, and maybe Hale was there.
Oh, Hale Collins?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another one.
Or maybe it was Lou. But anyway, like 5 of us. There was, and then the promoter's like, "That's like half my card."
Yep. Well, like I don't know what story Skylar's looking for, but
I'm just talking about where you hate.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Driving through Jersey just sucks in general, but yes. There was one time where we also blew out a tire. We were probably only about an hour into the trip, and this was like supposed to be one of our bigger shows. Like we cannot miss this show, so we drove the rest of the way on my donut.
Yep.
Which, in case if you don't know, you're not supposed to exceed over 45 miles an hour. And I'm driving on the Jersey Turnpike, basically like pushing it to 55, just hoping that I don't blow it out.
Doesn't fall off.
So yeah, going 55 on the Jersey Turnpike turns, a 3-hour trip into about like a 4.5, 5-hour trip. So that's definitely one of my shittier
that's
stories.
Why you always aim to be there early for kids. You always aim to be there early just in case something happens. I've gotten pretty good at plugging tires because it happens. You hit something, you get a flat, and next thing you know, you're screwed. It's happened to me more than one occasion. One more really good road trip story. So we do these stadium tours, Northeast Wrestling, throughout the summer. So one of our shows are out in Niles, Ohio, which is about, from here, it's like a 6-hour trip. And yeah, I was in a car with like 6 people. And like, it was like just a regular SUV. It wasn't like a minivan or anything. It was like someone driving. I think the biggest guy was in the front. I'm in the middle because I'm one of the smallest guys, right? So I'm stuck between two wrestlers. And I think we had somebody in the trunk. Actually, I think it was Jared Soberflight was in the trunk of that car. If I remember correctly. Might have been somebody else. But so yeah.
Was he alive?
So six what's that?
Was he alive?
He was alive.
Okay.
All these trunks are filled with dead hookers.
Let's just sprinkle.
But here I am for 6 hours, like basically like this. Oh, this is awful. This is the worst.
That's rough.
So, one other time coming back from Ohio was always an interesting trip because it's like I said, it's it's a 6-hour drive, so there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and we usually go the day before. So getting there is fine, right? We'll go the night before and everything's fine. But we usually leave right after the show, right? Because we don't want to pay for another hotel room. And I remember it was the first or second time. Must have been the second time because I think the first time was the time I was squeezed in. But anyway, the guy driving almost kept falling asleep. He probably almost killed us like 3 times.
Oh my God, no.
But finally pulled over like, dude, you gotta stop. You gotta stop driving. I think I ended up driving the rest of the way. I think I did like 4 hours straight, and it was like,
that's a good way to get.
I mean, if you're in the wrestling business, you know what that's like. And I don't have anywhere near the horror stories that I'm sure some people have, because like I said, the farthest I've ever driven is probably that Niles, Ohio show was like 6 hours. Like you've got guys doing like 12, 14 hours in the car, like it's the territory days or something, like, which is, if you can get the work, that's good for you. Like I said, most of that is because of my job. I'm not able to make those kind of trips, but you know, when I can, it's fun. It's always an experience. They're good stories, and as long as you ride with good people, like you'll have fun.
Yeah, no, this is listen, it's been a good run for something that you're like, hey, what if you guys need a reference? And now you've turned it into 18 years and counting.
Yeah,
of something that I feel like, if for a lot of guys who are just never satisfied, it's nice to see someone that's like, you know what, I've done this. I'm happy. If it ends tomorrow,
like I said, I've had a great run. I've had a great quote unquote career. Like I said, I don't really want.
You truly don't hear that. You really don't hear that a lot, and especially wrestling. I feel.
Oh yeah, no, because you always, I've had my moments where I'm like, oh, I want more, but whatever reason, it's not gonna happen. But that was probably like 10 years ago. Now I'm at a point where it's like I've had a great run. Like I've done a lot of things that I never thought I would have done. Rey Mysterio called me by name once. Like, you knew who I was. Like, that's how cool is that? Like, that's never expected stuff like that to happen to me, and it did. So, like I said, I'm super grateful just to be part of this crazy world of professional wrestling that people love and enjoy, and really that's what keeps me coming back is like, and it's so cliche to say these kind of things, but like it really is the fans getting entertained by it, because it's such a rush. And CJ, I'm sure you can back me up on this. You get such a rush, and even me as a referee, like getting that crowd to react, 100%, like having them in your hand. And even I feel like that sometimes as a referee, because like listen, a good false finish is only as good as your referee can be, right? Because if the referee doesn't sell it, like it's super close, it just looks like anything else. So that's kind of something I pride myself on. I've actually stolen some moves from other referees. Earl Hebner specifically. Everything's stolen. Everything's stolen and everything, stolen, right? Nothing's ever new. Like,
nothing's original in wrestling.
There's only like 5 stories in the world, right? Isn't that someone said that? Like, if it's not in the Bible or Shakespeare, like it's already been done.
Simpsons did it.
Simpsons I was gonna say, if it's not covered in those two, the Simpsons definitely did it.
But yeah, there's this, like I said, but that, and that, even that, like you're like, it's going to be a big move, and the fans are going to think it's over, and you just 1, 2, and you just swipe that away from him as the guy kicks out, and you just get up like 2, like you can't even believe it happened, like you're amazed, like he kicked out, and the fans just eat that up, and just getting that reaction, even in the ring as a referee, like that is something that like you can't explain. Like I don't have the words for it. Like I don't have the words for that kind of feeling that you get. It's incredible.
I've gotten that feeling really like strongly, to the point where like I really like felt that good about it, like how you're describing. I really only got that one time, and that was in a heavyweight title match for OTW at the time, where it was me, Andy Bivians, who was my partner at the time, and Adam Chandler, the Great, I believe was the gimmick he was going with at the time. I think now he's known as the Alpha Dog. I'm not 100% sure on that. I haven't been active on his Twitter lately, so if I'm getting the gimmick wrong, I'm sorry. But anyway, it was the 3 of us in a 3-way match for the heavyweight title. And of course, me and Andy being heels and partners, the whole storyline is we're beating up on Adam, basically setting it up for Andy to be the champion. Like, I'm kind of his lackey. Like, I'm kind of like his second man. Like, we have a stable of guys, but like, I'm kind of like the number 2 guy. He's the number 1 guy. He's definitely the number 1 guy. So everyone's expecting Andy to probably either take this title or Adam retain, but I'm definitely not going to be involved in the finish in any way, in anybody's eyes. One point during the match, and I remember a lot of my boys were there. I don't know if you were at this one, Mike, but I know my brother was, and Anthony and a few others. One point in the match, I hit Adam, who was the champion and the good guy at the time, with my finisher. Andy's disposed of outside of the ring at the time, and I'm yelling to him, Andy's down, get in here. And he's not moving. So then finally, like, I look around, make the decision, fuck it, I'm going for it. Dive on top of him. 1, 2. Andy pulls me out by the heel right at the last second and then gets in the ring and gets in my face. What are you doing? But that crowd in that moment, like even my brother after the show told me, he's just like, I thought you were winning the fucking title.
And you had him. And that's
I had him.
right. And that
when I
had storytelling though, right?
When
That's
I had my
storytelling.
brother of all people, I knew if I can get my brother, I had everybody in that crowd. Or we did. I shouldn't say me because we all did it together, but it was
you told the story. You like that's what people react to. Like that's what wrestling is about. It's about the story that you're telling out there, right?
Yeah.
It's not about the moves. It's not about the looks. It's not about when it comes down to it. It is about the story of the competitors out there having a match. You know, hopefully there's a good guy. Hopefully there's a bad guy. Hopefully, you know, and they battle it out, and people enjoy it.
That's what wrestling's all about.
Couldn't say it better myself.
It really is that simple. Like when you break it down, wrestling, people sometimes make it way too complicated. It's really easy. That's what I try to tell people too. Like when they're trying to put together a match, like that's the first thing you should sit down and say, what story do you want to tell in this match? Or probably more importantly, what story does the promoter want you to tell in this match? But still, like that's where you want to come from. Like, what is the story I'm telling, and then build your match around that.
Oh, that's awesome. Well said.
That's my advice to everybody, all you aspiring professional wrestlers out there.
That's what it's all about. You can do a million moves, but if it doesn't mean anything,
and also don't take yourself so seriously all the time. Have some fun with it.
That's a good point too. Obviously, be safe, be serious. Like to the point
no, that's not what I meant. I just
no. I know. I just want to. Yeah, I know.
Some guys walk into a locker room thinking that they're the person
that
that they are walking through the curtain, and you're not. So just
you're not supposed to be. Like if you were that person, you'd probably be in jail. Like let's be honest. Like if professional wrestlers were actually like, and that's why so many of them got in trouble back in the day because
they really were those people.
Those guys, those weren't gimmicks. Those guys were like
a gimmick.
I mean, hey, we all saw shit as a kid watching wrestling. Some of those guys probably should have been in jail that were on camera.
They tried to kill Big Boss Man, and I'm still not over that.
Yeah.
They tried to murder him in a ring, and nobody's doing anything about that. Like, I'm just saying.
They hung him from hell in a cell. And
you kidnapped the boss. The Undertaker kidnapped the boss's daughter. Well, actually, the boss kidnapped his own daughter.
Exactly. No, you see, that was a whole time.
He couldn't press charges
the whole time.
Triple H married a passed out lady.
Yes, Triple H basically.
Well, he did. Okay.
And then he had the gall to go and accuse Kane of raping poor Katie Vick.
I was okay. I was just gonna say that might not be the worst thing he's done.
I stopped watching wrestling for a little bit after that.
The Katie Vick storyline.
Oh my god,
that pushed you over the edge a little.
The biggest wrestling killer in the history of professional wrestling. It's like,
I don't think there's a single person who looks fondly at the Katie Vick.
Is that edit? That's? Can you go watch that on?
It's got to be scrubbed. It's got to be.
Is it?
I've not heard anything about it being scrubbed.
I will ask a friend of mine who works in WWE.
God damn it! I gotta look this up now
and get back to you. I don't have the network anymore. Since it moved to Peacock, I stopped watching the network, which is a shame because I had it when it was the network, and then for whatever reason it moved to Peacock, and I stopped watching it on there.
I got three letters for you. VNP.
Oh yeah.
I was like, wait, what?
I got. Yeah. Jesus. I was like, wait a minute. Then I got it. But
I have one word for you: dyslexia.
Touche.
That's a good. I never really thought of that because it's in different countries. You can probably
we could discuss, but for now you can legally watch it on Peacock. Not that I give a fuck. But fucking sue me. I don't give a shit. Everyone uses VPN. What do I care?
Mike, you need to stop daring people to sue us.
It'll happen.
Be good. That's a good business strategy. Don't dare people, especially Vince McMahon. Do not dare Vince McMahon.
Here you go. I give up.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He doesn't care if you have nothing. He will take it. He will take that.
This is true.
You think Rocco's your child right now? That's gonna ow.
He'll be like, I now own the rights to the six.
He's gonna be Rocco McMillan.
I'm sorry, I forgot the name of your podcast.
That's fine. We barely know it too.
I knew it had six in it. I knew it was 6 bands tagged, which is there are 3, so I guess that makes sense. If you had opponents, you would be wrestling a 6-man
This is
tag.
true, which we do because someone copied our name, but that's for another day.
Sue them.
Oh, we need to do a whole show on that.
Or pull an Eddie Guerrero and make Vince sue them, convince them that it was him.
It was them.
Yeah, it was them.
Yeah.
It wasn't us.
Yeah.
It was them, Austin.
It was the other 6-man, tag team podcast.
Oh man, I love it.
Check me out on Twitch. I'm referee Vinnie Lawrence.
Yes.
I'm gonna be playing
for real though.
I'm gonna play No Mercy tomorrow morning. The classic N64.
Oh, that's
No
good.
Mercy.
The best.
I'm gonna start. So I'm
excited. While you're at it, man, throw out any of the rest of your plugs. You want to get your Insta, your Twitter, anything else out there?
Yeah, referee Vinnie Lax on. I was never really thinking about this kind of stuff when I made these accounts, so I didn't really do a very good job of branding. It's because it's referee Vinnie Lax on Instagram, but only ref Vinnie Lax on Twitter. My Twitch channel is called Referee Vinnie Lax because I think Ref Vinnie Lax was actually taken on Twitch for whatever reason. I don't know who the hell took that, but I couldn't get Ref Vinnie Lax. It could only be Referee Vinnie Lax. So it's the long version on Twitch. I do have a YouTube channel called Just Another Guy Talking About Stuff. I started it during the pandemic. I thought I was bored basically. I was laid off, so I was like, let's do what everybody else does. Let's make content online.
Yeah, that was essentially the
this
return
is basically
of this.
Everyone who got laid off during the pandemic was like, I have nothing to do. Let's make content online. So I did that, and I made some videos here and there, and I had fun with it. I haven't really been doing that much with the channel lately. It's mostly a place for me to plot my Twitch video on demands.
Mm-hmm.
But the summer's coming up, and I'm off summers, which is a big perk of my job. So if you're interested, look into that. Subscribe to the channel and stay tuned because there might be some new content coming.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean,
So those are my social medias.
Nice.
So I hope to see you. I hope to see you there. The nice thing about not being famous is that I interact with people. I interact with the fans, so I have no problem.
Time.
Yeah. I'm not overwhelmed by like 50,000 people trying to message me. So like I have no problem interacting with fans. I'm not famous enough yet.
Yet, keyword.
You never know. You never
know. Well, keep a lookout for it, but everybody keep a lookout for you. I know I'm already following you on Instagram now, so definitely follow the socials. Definitely.
I post my gym selfies every day. That's like my running theme. People make fun of people who post gym selfies, but I'll tell you what, I used to be that person who made fun of people posting gym selfies. And I have no problem admitting that. But it's so weird that once I started doing it, it really did become like a really good motivator to like.
Honestly, I
make sure you go to the gym.
I posted a gym selfie on my Facebook today, but it's only because my hair was out to here.
Yeah, you didn't do for a cut, bro.
Oh no, I'm done.
Let it rock.
Yeah, you're growing it out, right?
The undercut. Anyway, that's besides the point.
So I hope to see you guys at a Northeast Wrestling show. Come.
You definitely will.
Yes, I know. That's kind
we're already talking about plans to like go out there and like try to do a show from the show.
Yeah, just like sit in the crowd, Instagram live. Yeah, all right.
Just do me a favor. Don't be one of those people who film our show and put it on television and put it on the internet. All right.
No, I was.
I don't have the patience for that.
No, that's not what I was.
I don't have time. I don't have the energy.
No, we want to. No. We wouldn't do that.
Taking the revenue away,
No, absolutely not.
We're talking about like doing a.
Yeah. So, that'd be cool.
And we did tell Dutch that we were gonna like pop up to one of his shows and just do like another interview with him live one day.
Would love to.
So
easier said than done.
He like everyone says this. Like he's just one of the best people in professional wrestling. Bill.
I
couldn't disagree with you. That's for sure.
The fact, granted, we had obviously we have a friend that knows him, but the fact that he just talked to us without ever knowing who we were for 2 hours was like incredible.
If you guys or anyone else interested, go I don't know the High Spots Wrestling Network.
Yes,
which actually does also carry Northeast Wrestling shows on it.
Chris told us about
that's a bust too. Yeah.
Yep.
There are a bunch of interviews with him, hanging out with Dan Barry, and oh my god, they're hilarious. They even have a Twitch. I'll plug their Twitch channel. They have a Twitch channel, High Spots Wrestling.
I mean, I knew I was gonna like Dutch as the moment he popped on. He was wearing his Campbell Corpse hat, and I happened to be wearing my Campbell Corpse shirt.
Like, how do you? We came and planned it. It worked out great.
Serendipitous.
But this was awesome. Like I said, all the socials.
Oh, this was awesome. I'm so cool. This is always
great.
a good experience. You know, like I said, I don't get to do this often because I'm a nobody, and so having me on is really means a real lot to me too, because it's nice to be recognized for.
Trust me, listen, we appreciate it more than you know. Any set of eyeballs is awesome. Really, like. That's all I can say. Like
and the good news is you're about to have like 5 to 15 more people know who you are now.
See,
there are dozen of us.
Like I said before, listen, my YouTube channel, my video on demand,
10 dozens.
My video on demand.
I said 1 dozen.
Same thing.
1 dozen.
But you know what?
Dozen.
It's just an excuse for us to get together and talk wrestling.
Exactly.
Now it's becoming an excuse for us to talk wrestling with some pretty cool people. So we're glad to have you on. And
well, if you ever want to have me on again,
hell yeah,
feel free to reach out. Your booking agent. Your booking agent. These guys have a booking agent. All right, don't let them fool you. Like, they're not professional. They actually have. They have a booking agent. He reached out to me.
We have a booking agent, a graphic designer.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's about it.
You're a whole organization.
Hopefully soon in studio.
Maybe some intro music soon.
Yes.
PJ
and I need to convene about that one.
Yeah.
Yes. That's all.
Don't let these guys fool you. They're going places.
But one, you're always welcome back. And 2, we need to do some twitching.
There you go. We will discuss. Follow us at 6-Man Tag Podcast on Instagram, the number 6. If you follow it with the word, that's not us. Fuck them.
That's those other guys. Screw them.
I heard they were talking shit about Vince McMahon.
That's what I heard too.
Probably, yeah.
Go sue them.
So at 6-Man Tag Podcast on Instagram. If you want to email us, we have an email address now. The number 6, 6-Man Tag Podcast at gmail.com. Any questions you want to send us? If you want to say fuck you, that's fine too. We'll read it.
We'll probably answer you, even the fuck you.
Yes.
Put it in the comment. Listen, any comments helps the algorithm. So yes, like if you want to say fuck you people, put it in the comments.
I am going to start a YouTube. I do want to start a YouTube channel. These clips have to. We need more eyeballs, more place for this to go. Look out for that on our Instagram. We have a Twitter. I'm really not active on it. I really prefer Instagram. If I get the Twitter going, we'll plug it here. We're really the main places to advertise this shit for free. We really are lacking. Fuck Facebook. There's really no point in it anymore.
Fuck Facebook.
What am I gonna do? Someone's fucking grandma's gonna find.
I know you're doing it. I know you're in the middle of an outro, but I do want it. Don't knock Facebook. There's a lot of people on Facebook. I get a lot of
followers on my Facebook than anything else. For
I hate it. I hate Facebook. I hate it.
Oh, me too. I despise it.
But there are so many people on it.
There's so many people. I mean,
honestly, that where most of my link hits come from Facebook. Maybe it's also because I'm older as well.
I will say that Facebook, I don't think they ever take down pages, because we had a page on there.
It still gets views,
and I absolutely deactivated it like a few years ago, and we still get likes on it. And I haven't posted anything in years because we did this in 2013, stopped after a while.
I just wanted from my personal experience, don't still pop it up on Facebook, because I guarantee you'll get hits.
Okay.
I know.
Just saying, you don't have to listen to me.
It's true. Listen, it's true. It's true. And it's true as in the same breath I say fuck Facebook, but also it's an easy way to advertise.
It's terrible, but it's everyone. I hate it, and I still scroll it. Right? Everyone does it. Everyone does it. It's because it's just part of our lives now.
This is true.
For better or worse, it is literally part of our lives.
Unfortunately, it's the only way anyone know whose birthday it is.
Oh man,
right.
Yeah, you're
true. Also true.
You got to check it every day, because you're like, whose birthday is it today?
Shit, yeah.
Did I forget someone important's birthday? Oh no.
We say all that to say thank you for listening and or watching. Again, all the plugs are in here. Follow all of us on the socials. Thanks to our guests.
Thank you.
Thanks to our guests, Vinny, for CJ, for Skylar.
Hopefully we'll talk to you guys soon.
Oh yeah, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, do all that. We love you guys. See ya.